There is a quiet, exhausting weight behind your eyes that you cannot name. It is the fatigue of a soldier who has forgotten what he is fighting for. But you aren't a soldier. You are an actor. Look at your life in 2026. You are the first generation in human history required to be your own PR manager, your own brand strategist, and your own lead performer 24 hours a day. You do not simply eat a meal, you document it for an audience. You do not simply feel an emotion. You curate a post about it. Every moment of your existence is filtered through the invisible lens of a spectator. Even when you are alone in your room, you are performing for the potential viewer. You are adjusting your posture, your thoughts, and your aesthetic to fit a version of you that is marketable. You are a generation drowning in persona fatigue. The architect looks at this and sees a massive collective dissociation. You have spent so much time polishing the digital reflection of your life that the actual living of it has become secondary. You are a spectator of your own existence. You are a ghost haunted by your own image. And the more perfect your performance becomes, the more empty the performer feels. You have become a servant to a version of you that doesn't even exist. The origin of the mask. Alan Watts had a profound, clinical way of exposing this tragedy. He frequently reminded his audience that the word person comes from the Latin persona, which originally referred to the mask worn by actors in Greco-Roman theater. In the ancient world, the mask had a megaphone-like mouth to project the voice. The persona was the instrument through which the sound came. The tragedy of the modern mind is that you have mistaken the mask for the face. You have become so identified with the role you are playing, the successful professional, the cynical outsider, the happy influencer, that you have forgotten there is a living, breathing actor underneath. Watts understood that society is a vast, complex game of make-believe. But he warned that the moment you take the game seriously is the moment you become a prisoner of it. When you believe your persona is who you actually are, you live in constant terror of the mask slipping. You are terrified that if the audience sees the unfiltered you, the play will end and you will be nothing. You are exhausted because it takes a tremendous amount of internal energy to keep a mask from falling. You are a king who is so afraid of losing his crown that he has forgotten how to breathe. The spectator's cage. The invisible script of our time demands that you be constant. It demands that your personal brand be consistent, predictable, and always on. But human nature is fluid. You are a river, not a statue. Alan Watts observed that trying to be sincere is a contradiction in terms. The moment you try to show the world who you are performing sincerity. You are adding another layer to the mask. This is why authenticity on social media feels so profoundly fake. It is a scripted version of realness. By living as an actor for a digital audience, you have created a spectator's cage. You are always watching yourself being watched. This creates a split in your consciousness. There is the you that is experiencing life, and the you that is analyzing how that experience looks to others. Watts saw this split as the root of all anxiety. You are a house divided against itself. You are a musician who is so worried about the reviews that he can no longer hear the notes. The architect knows that the only way to reclaim your power is to realize that the audience is a hallucination. The spectator you are trying to please is just a collection of other actors who are just as terrified and exhausted as you are. They aren't watching you. They are too busy adjusting their own masks. You are performing in an empty theater, terrified of the judgment of shadows. The spectator in the skull. There is a glitch in your consciousness that has become a permanent feature of your reality. It is the spectator in the skull. In the pre-digital era, a person could simply be. They could walk through a forest, eat a meal, or feel a wave of grief in total, dark privacy. But for you, the private moment has become an endangered species. Even when you are completely alone, you are evaluating your life from the outside in. You are looking at your own experiences as if you are a critic reviewing a movie. How does this look? Is this aesthetic? What would people think if they saw me right now? This is the mirror trap. You have turned your own life into an object. You are no longer the one living. You are the one watching yourself live. Alan Watts observed that this is the ultimate form of self-alienation. He realized that the moment you try to stand outside of yourself to watch your life, you have split your soul in two. You have created a me and an I, a performer and a critic. And the critic is a cruel, relentless master who is never satisfied with the performance. You are exhausted because you are playing to a crowd that only exists inside your own head, and you are terrified that the applause will stop the moment you stop acting. The eye that cannot see itself. Alan Watts had a legendary way of exposing the futility of this self-observation. He would often remind his students of a simple biological truth. The eye cannot see itself. You can see the reflection of your eye in a mirror, but that is a reversed, flat image. It is not the living, seeing eye. You can use your finger to touch your other fingers, but you cannot use a finger to touch its own tip. Watts applied this to the human ego. He argued that the self you are so desperately trying to curate, improve, and broadcast is a social fiction. It is a set of ideas about yourself, not the reality of yourself. When you live as an actor, you are trying to see your own eyes. You are trying to capture the lightning of your existence and put it into a digital bottle. Watts understood that the real you is the process of seeing, not the thing being seen. By trying to turn yourself into a brand or a persona, you are trying to turn a flowing river into a block of ice. You feel stuck and fake because you are trying to freeze something that was meant to be fluid. You are trying to define the indefinable. The architect knows that the more you try to define yourself for an audience, the less self you actually have left. You are trading your soul for a profile. The algorithm of the soul, the invisible script of 2026, has provided you with a mirror that never turns off. The algorithm. Every like, every comment, and every metric of engagement is a chip of glass in the mirror of your persona. You have outsourced your identity to the cloud. You no longer ask your own intuition if you are doing well. You ask the engagement rate. You have become a biological extension of a machine that values attention over depth. Watts saw this coming. He spoke of the totalitarian nature of social expectations, the way society demands that you be a known quantity. If you are unpredictable, you are dangerous to the system. The algorithm rewards you for being a caricature of yourself. It wants you to be the anxious creative, the stoic bro, or the healing influencer. It wants you to pick a mask and wear it until it fuses with your skin. This is the algorithm of the soul. It is a feedback loop that rewards the performance and punishes the actor. If you show the world your true, messy, unmarketable humanity, the metrics drop. The audience leaves. The spectator in the skull panics. So you put the mask back on. You tighten the straps. You go back to the script. But Watts knew that a life lived for the metrics is a life that isn't lived at all. It is a simulation of a life. You are a ghost inhabiting a very expensive, very beautiful, very empty personal brand. Reclaiming the secret. The architect does not play the game of the metrics. The architect understands the power of the unseen. Alan Watts often spoke about the beauty of the secret life. He understood that the most powerful parts of a human being are the parts that cannot be documented. The parts that are too deep for a lens, too complex for a caption, and too wild for a personal brand. To reclaim your power, you must begin to build a life that is invisible to the world. You must start doing things, great things, hard things, beautiful things, that you never tell anyone about. You must starve the spectator in the skull. When you do something for the sake of the experience itself, without the filter of a potential audience, you are performing a revolutionary act. You are teaching your biology that your value is not a public commodity. You are proving to yourself that the actor exists even when the stage is dark. This is the beginning of strategic privacy. It is the realization that your attention is the most valuable currency you own, and you have been spending it all on a crowd that doesn't care if you live or die. The architect withdraws his attention from the mirror and places it back into the moment. He stops being the object and starts being the subject. He stops being the reflection and starts being the light. The Great Awakening, the divine ego. We have spent this exploration dissecting the pain of the mask. We have analyzed the exhaustion of the performance. Now, we enter the realm of the architect's final realization. Most people spend their lives trying to find their true selves by peeling away the layers of their persona. They think that if they just strip away the social expectations, the digital filters, and the acting, they will find a solid, permanent soul underneath. But Alan Watts dropped a philosophical bomb on this idea. He argued that there is no solid self to find. Watts drew from ancient Hindu philosophy to explain the concept of Lila, the divine play. He suggested that the entire universe is God playing a cosmic game of hide-and-seek with itself. The you that you think you are is simply a role that the total energy of the universe is currently playing. You aren't a stranger in the world. You are the world pretending to be a stranger for the sake of the drama. When you realize this, the persona fatigue vanishes instantly. Why? Because you realize that the play is not a burden. It is the point. The tragedy isn't that you are wearing a mask. The tragedy is that you have forgotten that you are the one who put it on. You have taken the drama so seriously that you have developed stage fright in your own life. The architect doesn't stop acting. The architect realizes he is the playwright, weaponizing the persona. If life is a play, then the architect is the one who chooses his roles with precision. The masses are unconscious actors. They wear the masks that society hands them. The anxious employee, the dutiful child, the angry citizen, and they believe these masks are their true faces. They are victims of their roles. But once you have achieved the Watts perspective, you move into strategic masking. You realize that a mask is just a tool. It is a set of social signals used to navigate the world. You can wear the mask of the high-status professional in a meeting, not because you are that person, but because that mask gets the job done. You can wear the mask of the cynical outsider in a toxic environment to protect your internal peace. The power lies in distance. When you know you are acting, you no longer feel fake. You feel effective. You are no longer trying to be something. You are playing something. This creates an unshakable internal freedom. When someone insults your persona, it doesn't touch the actor. When your personal brand fails, it doesn't harm the sky. You have achieved the ghost protocol of identity. You are present physically on the stage, but energetically, you are back in the green room, laughing at the absurdity of the scene. You have become the outlier who uses the world's games to build his own reality, without ever becoming a pawn in theirs. Stepping off the stage. The invisible script of our digital age wants you to believe that the performance is a marathon with a trophy at the end. It wants you to stay on the stage until you collapse from exhaustion. But the architect knows how to find the vertical exit. Alan Watts often spoke about the cosmic joke, the moment when a person realizes that they have been seeking for something they already possess. You have been performing to earn a sense of worth, but you are the consciousness in which the very concept of worth exists. To step off the stage, you must embrace privacy as power. In 2026, the most radical act of rebellion is to have an experience that you do not share, to have a thought that you do not tweet, to have a victory that you do not broadcast. By keeping your real life invisible, you build a submarine of identity that the world cannot sink. You are teaching your biology that the spectator does not matter. You are starving the mirror trap. When you do this, your public persona becomes a thin, light layer. a silk robe that you can take off at any moment. You are no longer living as an actor. You are living as the audience. You are watching the play of your own life with a mild, detached curiosity. Oh, look, my character is feeling anxious today. How interesting. Look, my character is succeeding. How delightful. But you remain unmoved. You are the stillness at the center of the storm, the dance of the void. As we close this deep dive into the persona, remember the final lesson of the sky. The digital world is a hurricane of masks. It is a screaming theater of 8 billion people, all terrified that their performance isn't good enough. It is a generation that has traded its self for seen. You are the sky. The masks are just clouds. The performance is just a temporary weather pattern. It does not define you. It cannot limit you. Alan Watts compared the universe to a dance. In a dance, you don't succeed by finishing the dance. You succeed by dancing. The point of being an actor is not to reach the final curtain. It is to enjoy the play while the lights are on. Burn the personal brand. Delete the ideal version. Stop trying to find yourself and start playing yourself. The world is a stage, but you are the architect of the theater. You are the music, the actor, and the silent space between the notes. The air is thin here. The sheep are still on the stage, begging for applause. But you have walked out into the cool, dark night. You are alone, and for the first time in your life, you are finally real. Comment below to seal the transformation. The mask is off. The dance begins. The play continues. The architect remains silent. Subscribe to stay centered in the void.